What's up, y'all? This is Chitty Bang, and I'm on the Renegade Millionaire Show, the podcast that profiles entrepreneurs, founders, and CEOs. Join us as we go one-on-one inside the hearts and minds of some of our generation's best and brightest. And now, introducing your host, my friend, Sun Group Wealth Partners Managing Director, CNBC and Forbes.com contributor, Winnie Sun.
Hi everybody, it's Winnie's son, and this is the Renegade Millionaire Show. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're here from TuneIn Studios in Venice Beach, and you can learn all about our show now at renegademillionaireshow.com. We're really excited. We just launched it. And so you can keep track of me there, and as the managing partner of Sun Group Wealth Partners in sunny California, you can also follow me on Twitter so you can see when I'm going to be on CNBC next. Speaking of CNBC, on the way here, I got an email from a good friend of mine, Sharon Esperant, on CNBC asking me to comment on a very hot topic today, which is about retiring abroad. So I want to share this with you really quickly. You know, the thought of retiring on an island, I know it's probably crossed your mind at some point, probably not Gilligan's Island, but a really beautiful island. So I would say, like with anything else, it always pays to start and plan early. So with that, some things to keep in mind to pre-plan and get assessment of in terms of savings is how much it's going to cost in terms of housing, Medicare costs, travel costs, and of course, lobster costs. With that, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. You know, I always love to hear from you, and I'm always happy to answer your financial questions. And with that, let's start with the show. So I am so excited. I can't even tell you. In the office, we've been buzzing excited because today's guest, most of you have, I would say probably all of you have heard of. So Jeff Timmons is with us in the studio, and you may have heard of a small group back in the day called 98 Degrees. Oh, shucks. So hard to do this, and my job is so difficult. But thank you, and welcome, Jeff. Thanks for coming
Thanks.
on.
That's quite the intro. I appreciate that. I'm very, very flattered. Yes, back in the day, we were around in the late 90s, early 2000s was our heyday, and basically had a reunion a couple years ago. So thanks for that intro. It was awesome.
We just saw you. Well, if they saw you right now sitting in front of me, they would think that you started when you were 10 years old.
I love you. This is how long can we take this interview? We want this to last forever. No, I try to stay with the young bucks. I'm in the entertainment industry, and as you know, the majority of that, unfortunately, it's not necessarily about talent or your business acumen. It's about the way you look. So, I try to keep up, and my kids keep me fresh and young, I think. So I really appreciate that too. Nice compliments.
Well, you look great. So that you must be doing something right.
Thank you.
I'm gonna read your bio because there's just so much, and I don't want to mess anything up. But in '97, so you peaked at number 12 on the Billboard Hot 100 with Invisible Man.
Yeah, that was our first single that we ever had out. We were signed to Motown Records originally, and it was interesting. We were the first white vocal group ever signed to Motown Records. It was pretty interesting. Cool. And we didn't even think about it like that. We idolized Boyz II Men. We formed our group and we modeled ourselves after Boyz II Men. Boyz II Men was signed to Motown Records. We wanted to be signed to Motown Records. They got discovered singing backstage at a concert. We got discovered singing backstage at their concert.
Wow.
So it's we had this vision of doing whatever Boyz II Men did, and we ultimately did a lot of the things. Now, they sold a lot more. I think they sold many more records than we did and had more number ones than us. But nonetheless, we wanted to follow that model, and certainly it was interesting. It came full circle that we got to tour with our idols on the last tour, so it was a pretty incredible ride for us.
You didn't do so bad yourself, though.
We got lucky. We did okay. Yeah, we did pretty good.
I think you did very, very well. Thanks. I remember back then seeing pictures on TV where there's just crowds of people. I mean, I can't even imagine how you got from the tour bus onto stage some days.
It was pretty interesting. When that song Invisible Man that you alluded to earlier came out in 97, it was a top 12 hit. On some charts, it was top 10. Like on Rick D's, it was top 10.
Mm-hmm. And it was playing all the time.
We were going all over the place. And Motown had this brilliant idea at the time that they wanted to put our music out, and they didn't want to put our pictures on anything. So they wanted everybody to think that we were a black group. instead of
so
showing
awesome.
showing what we look like, they decided they thought it would be a good idea. They wanted us to have edge, be urban, be an urban vocal group as opposed to
You guys are so cute.
a bunch of white boys from Ohio. So they had a different idea and different philosophy. So it was interesting. You say you couldn't get off the tour bus. Quite the contrary. We were going all over the country, and we were the Invisible Men. We had this huge song on the radio, and we were literally going into record stores and buying up our own records because nobody knew what we looked like. We didn't have a video on MTV, so the strategy on how to market us wasn't quite working. So we could definitely get off the tour bus. In fact, we would go into malls before we would perform at local radio station shows and actually hire like girls, give them disposable cameras to follow us around and make it look like we were superstars, so people would crowd around and we could tell them about the show. So it was a little bit backwards at first, and then TRL came out, and then our videos came on MTV, and literally like almost overnight we couldn't get out of the tour bus all of a sudden.
Yeah, the boys from Ohio got popular real quick.
Yeah, once the video images came out and MTV was on it, and we did a lot of things with Disney and Nickelodeon, and once the images were out there, it started to get pretty crazy.
It got pretty crazy pretty quick, right?
Yeah. I mean, probably within, I'd say 6 months, we were begging people to buy our record, and then we couldn't get out of the tour bus to get into the hotel. So
I remember everybody was talking about 98 Degrees. They still talk about today. I mean, and you did the movie with Mulan.
Yeah, that was another thing. I mean, I was very blessed in my career. We got to work and associate with a lot of my idols. And Stevie Wonder, again, a former Motown artist and legend.
Oh my goodness, everybody would dream of working with Stevie.
It was incredible. I mean, and Disney approached us to do a song for the soundtrack of Mulan, partnering with Stevie Wonder, a duet with him. So
Who
of course,
says no?
No, we jumped at the opportunity, and so working with Stevie was incredible. He was the most down-to-earth guy, literally the guy, whether cameras are there, not there, he always is playing music. In his trailer for the video shoot, he had a piano, he had a harmonica on the set, always playing music, most humble guy on the planet, and it was like an honor to be in his presence, really. And then to share a soundtrack cut with him on Mulan and for Disney, I mean, it was like a dream come true, really.
How old were you when you were working with him?
I mean, I was in my early 20s. I think that came out in like 98, so I was like 25, mid-20s.
Oh wow! Yeah. So did he share any words of wisdom with you?
Well, one of his big things was stay humble. I mean, he was really cool, and at that time we were starting to really blow up and get popular. Fortunately for us, it is easy to let it go to your head, but we're all from the Midwest, all from good families. Our parents kind of taught us that look, don't let it go to your head because they'll check you up really quick and put you in your place. So we kind of kept our balance about us. But Stevie was very much a humble guy, and here's a guy that has sold hundreds of millions of records and had so many #1 songs and world famous for years and years and years. And so he was humble, and we thought, okay, well, this is a good guy to look at, sort of to idolize and follow in his footsteps.
Wow, that's incredible. Have you spoken to him through the years? Or?
Yeah, I mean, we've kept touch here and there through the years. I mean, I saw him a few years back at the Billboard Awards in Las Vegas, and again, gracious. I thought he might have forgotten about us, but he sure didn't. He was great.
Oh, wow. Incredible. Well, actually, that's a good segue. I'd love to talk about what you're doing in Vegas. That's exciting stuff.
I'm doing a lot of stuff in Vegas. Originally I was I made the transition from Southern California to Las Vegas. I was newly married I'm on my second marriage and very happily married now. But my wife, I had been approached to host the Chippendales show in Las Vegas. So I was
That's
like,
a little different, right?
It's quite different. And I thought, man, what a mistake that'll be. If I go there, people will think I'm a stripper and my career's over. Where's it going? My wife said, no. I've seen the Chippendales. It's a really well-produced show, believe it or not. It's a Vegas show. You're not going to be stripping. You're going to be hosting. You're going to be singing 98 Degrees songs. You're going to be singing new songs. You're going to be bringing that fan base that was 12 and 13 that are now 20 and 23 and 22 and 23 to that venue, and it's going to make a lot of press, and really it's going to rejuvenate your career. And I was like, I mean, up to the 11th hour, I was like, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to pull out. And I actually thought about it. And, I talked to the publicist there who brought me in, and he said, look, there are billboards all over Vegas. It's all over the press now. You got to do. And it ended up being one of the best things I've ever done. I had a blast. I mean,
wow.
Getting to perform with those guys, they're great dancers. A couple of the guys sing. It's not a raunchy show like people think by any stretch of the imagination. It was a great experience for me. It was sold out the whole time. I became a staple in Vegas. You know,
Wow.
I got opportunities to do music and TV again. And, you know, I created my own male review that's more of a singing type of boy band. Like, these guys rip their shirts off, but they're amazing dancers. And great singers, and you know, we ended up getting a TV show with that on the E Network called Men of the Strip. Yeah, Men of the Strip, and now we're gonna do a series with that. We're gonna take that overseas. We have 120 to 150 dates scheduled for these guys overseas. They're gonna follow Doc the guys, make a series on the guys overseas, and they're gonna put music out. It's become a phenomenon in its own respect, and Magic Mike being a huge catalyst for that. You know, now that that's mainstream and that girls are allowed to have their girls' night out and their fun and that type of thing is sort of accepted, believe it or not, this late in this day and age, finally accepted with that and 50 Shades of Grey and everything. You know, it's been a kind of a whirlwind and an exciting endeavor for me.
Wow, that's incredible. So if people want to go see the show, how do they?
Well, we were thinking about doing a residency in Vegas, and then this opportunity to take the troupe worldwide came. So it's sort of a balancing act. Great, you know, Vegas is cool, and you know, and you can have a residency there. And we had certainly had a lot of offers to create a residency there. We went on a 42 city tour with the guys that was sold out the whole time.
Wow.
It ended up being incredible. It started off very slow, and then boom, once it hit virally what the show was and people knew that these guys sang and they danced, and you know, the guy that choreographed the guys choreographed Michael Jackson and Usher, so these guys could really dance. The show blew up, and then now we're going to take them overseas. I think it's a better opportunity for branding with the guys internationally.
Yes.
Grow the brand, let them put music out like a bunch of record labels want to do with the guys out there. Do it overseas, collect the momentum, come back to the States, start a residency in Vegas.
So what's your role with them on a day-to-day basis?
I'm more behind the scenes. Of course, I host the show. You know, originally it was to draw my existing fan base to the show. But you know, once they got there, I was like chopped liver next to these guys. They're like, "What, Jeff? Who? Go, get off the stage. We like these younger, svelte dancers that can sing." So you know, I host the show. I do a lot of behind the scenes. I market the guys. Each of them, we've spent a lot of time. Each of the guys building up their own brands. Now for this new version of Men of the Strip, we're going to recast. We're going to get international. We're going to get guys from all over the world to be in this one kind of super group, super troupe. So
that's really cool.
It's fun. I mean, again, when you talk about a male review, everybody has their connotations about what it is, and it's really raunchy, and it's a sexy, edgy show, but it's an entertaining show. It's a Vegas type of show. It's a Broadway Vegas type of show.
Well, it came from Vegas, and everything's okay in Vegas, right?
Yeah, you know the saying, you know. But everything's okay in Vegas, and it's quite a departure from even the Chippendales. It's more of a polished, performing kind of thing that's more about a kind of a mind and enticement than, you know, gritty, sexy, raunchy kind of stuff.
Makes you want to check it out, doesn't it?
I hope so. I hope people come and check it out.
So let's talk about that. I mean, another thing that before we got on the air here, Jeff and I were talking about how a lot of what he does today, he does because of his kids, because he's quite the family man.
Yeah, I mean, I've always wanted to have a big family. I have a big family. My wife and I have 5 kids between the two of us. I have 2 stepkids, 2 from a previous marriage, and we have 1 together. So we really have like a Brady Bunch mixed family. It's kind of a zoo at my house, but I like that. That's what I dreamt of my whole life. I mean, even when I gave a speech for a competition when I was a freshman in high school, and I was like, my goal is to have 10 kids, you know? I'm halfway there. I don't think I can have any more. By the time my youngest kid's in high school, I'm like 60 years old, so I got to stop at some point. But
you'll be the cool dad at 60, though. That's okay.
I hope so. Last thing I want is them to be like, your grandpa's here, and my daughter would be embarrassed.
Hey, but you'll have a ripped grandpa. So.
I'll try, yeah. As long as I keep hanging out with these guys that Men of the Strip, I'll hopefully maintain somewhat of a semblance of a physique. But you know, I love being at home, and so you know, I've been fortunate enough to have enough success that I can create my and nowadays with technology, you don't just have to be an entertainer to work out of home. I have a studio at my house. I do a lot of my business through Skype. Of course, I have to come to LA being in entertainment quite a bit, or New York, but the majority of the time I spend at my house with my kids. And
so your office is at home.
My office is at home. My studio's at home. I mean, I can work on the phone. I can work on my computer any place in the house. I can go to games.
That's so
I can coach
awesome.
games. I mean, and then go home and work in the studio from 12 at night till 5 in the morning, so while everybody's asleep. So there's a way to do all of it.
So you chose that as your life. I mean, you could obviously have a studio and have all these people, but you choose to work from home. So what got you to this point?
Well, I mean, I chose the entertainment business, so it's a flexible business, and I do music. So nowadays you can create music anywhere and send it, through Dropbox, internet, all that stuff that, wasn't available even when we first started. It was tape. Everything was on tape. It was reel to reel tape, and you'd have to ship the tape, and you'd have to cut the tape, or you'd have to punch stuff in, which meant if you missed a take, you rewound, and you have to record it again and go back. Nowadays, it's technology, so I can put something together at my house and do it for another artist. Send the track out. The person can come to my house. They can track while my kids are at school or in the middle of the night when they're asleep. We can get it done, ship it off wherever. We can do it worldwide.
Save time, right?
Save a lot of time. I mean, and a lot of money. I mean, nowadays, of course, there's this certain polish that a major studio with all the outboard gear and bells and whistles offers, and eventually you take the rough mix that you have on whatever music or whatever video film you're doing, and you go to post somewhere else that has that kind of technology. But the majority of the stuff you can get done in your house for, a fraction of the cost, really.
That's very cool. So does your wife or kids ever tell you, like, get out of here?
Oh yeah, they're
leave
sick.
the house.
They get sick of me. I have a fine balance. I just, like today, I had to come to LA for some meetings. Of course, this great interview, and thanks again for having me. But I think it was time. They're like, oh great, he's gonna be gone for like 2 days. Thank God, because I am all over the kids. I'm with them all the time, and it's not like I remember my dad having to travel. My dad was always there for us. Anything we needed, but he traveled a lot. He was a salesman for Memorex and Verizon, and he was the VP of these companies, and so it required him to be out of town quite a bit and make sales calls and make these big deals. But when we had things like graduation and football games, he was there, but he was gone most of the week. So I missed him a lot. And it's the opposite with my kids. They're like, don't you have a sales call? Can't you get a sales job? Can't you? Isn't there some place you need to be besides watching me do my homework? But no, it's something that I feel very blessed that I was able to create for myself.
Amazing.
And that's probably my biggest accomplishment. I get up every day. I'm like, I'm lucky to be home with these kids every day. It's cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. It's like you're like the cool modern father. We were just talking about this earlier. My husband made that decision also. He came from a very big company and gets to work from home. And the key thing that he says is, I get to work from home. I don't have to work from home. I choose to work from home, which I think we didn't have that luxury, just 10 years ago.
No, and technology makes that available to you. You don't have to go into the office. Again, the face-to-face, FaceTime, Skype, WebEx for presentations. It's all there. It's great to be in person. There is something to be said when you need to go in person
So you can get on a plane, you can get in a car.
Yeah, you can get on a plane, go for a day, come back, or you can do business over the computer. I was part of the sale of our show, the pitch of our show to E and all the other networks via a tour bus on Skype. So I was able to participate in those meetings, and we sold the show that way. So I didn't need to be in LA and New York all those times. I was wherever I was in transit on a computer. So we were able to work it out that way. Got lucky.
And the cool thing is, when your wife needs an extra hand on a 3-year-old, then you're there.
Yeah, and all the kids. I like to help her out. She helps me out with my career. She does a lot for me, almost sort of manages me in a way. She takes care of a lot of stuff financially. I'm like all over the place with my finances, and I don't keep track of the bills.
Women tend to be good with that.
Right. It's speaking from the best, I guess. I'm all over the place. She allows me to, of course, before I met my current wife, I was a mess. I'm not very good organizing with organization. My organizational skills are lacking big times, but I'm creative. So if I have something to do at 2:00 in the morning, I can get up, throw it down. If I come up with a treatment for something as far as a play or writing a chapter of a book, I can do that. And she takes care of all the regular stuff that needs to be done for us to live, like paying the bills and, taking care of stuff and
making sure you have food.
right, going to the store. Yeah, I mean, all that stuff that I sort of forget about. Oh yeah, you guys haven't eaten today. Oh, I forgot. No, I'm so I guess my youngest son. He loves when my wife's about to go out of town for a few days to go to her niece's graduation in Louisiana. So my son's already looking forward to party time with me. He stays up all night and plays video games, and it's like his vacation. So
very cool. So, I mean, working from home, do you feel like you get more work done than if you were going to an office?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, look, you get, when you go to an office or you go to all these places, you have to commute. So that takes a big chunk of your day out. At home, like I said, I mean, I can do everything whenever I want. I mean, if I want to go work on a certain part of a song and everything's taken care of with my kids and it's 2:00 in the afternoon, and I can go work on it and at my leisure or at 5, 6 in the morning before they get up. And, I couldn't just jump in a car and go to a studio and then come back and then, just all the rigmarole doing that, getting an engineer, calling the studio, getting them to open it up whenever I want, seeing if time's available. No, I can do things and work very efficiently out of my house.
And I know you have a huge fan base. I mean, so how do you maintain that? Like, I know you get huge social media followers. Do you do that or do you have people?
I like to do it. I mean, I think one of the things that made our group 90 Degrees unique from some of the other folks we were compared to is that we were always very, very approachable to our fans. And we kind of kept that blue-collar mentality of you got to keep grinding, you got to keep working, you got to maintain your fans, you have to let them know that they're appreciated in a genuine way because fans can sense when you're just doing it to make sure they stay your fans. And we thought it's really important to have good relationship with our fans, ask their opinions. I'm on all my social media myself.
Wow. You hear that, guys? If you reach out, Jeff actually responds.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, I love the praise that our fans give, but I also love their constructive criticism. And our fans don't, they're not shy. They're not shy about,
we love it.
Wow, why did you wear that tomato red shirt today? You look like a fat tomato. I mean, so they'll tell me that, and then I'll be like, all right, honey,
scratch the tomato
no more tomato shirt. It didn't work. But of course, you got to take all of it in stride, good with the bad, and you got to kind of like. Not let it get to you too much. Yeah, there are good things about social media and, of course, bad things about it. But I think I look at it like you talk about positivity. I kind of look at it in a positive light. It's constructive. Does it run my life? No. Is it important? Is it an important tool? Is it important to be connected with the fans? Absolutely. I mean, they make my career. They made me sell enough records, having enough tours, so I can sit home and watch my kids grow up. Thank
you. Thank you to all of you who follow Jeff.
Yeah, thank you very much.
We appreciate you. We really do. Well, that is awesome. Well, what's next? What's next that we can look forward to? What do you got on plate?
Thanks for asking. I'm doing a lot of different things. I have a out-of-home media company that I'm in the process of purchasing with my business partners that I've been working on for many, many years, and finally it's coming into fruition. It's called I Am Media, and it's basically any TVs you see out of the home, gas pumps in stores, in retail stores, in convenience stores. We're purchasing a company that has 55,000 screens in the marketplace.
Wow.
And it sounds like a boring thing for my fan base that wants to hear entertainment, but as an entrepreneur, it's a good place to sell advertising.
Yes.
And obviously, advertising drives every sort of form of entertainment. So it drives television, it drives radio, it drives the internet. So all of the things you see on TV are a result of selling advertising so you can see it. So this is going to enable me to advertise whatever I want content-wise, but also and cross-promote across all of these many platforms, but also it's a lucrative business with regards to selling advertising in the retail space. So that's something, thank you, that's something that I've been working on since 2006, and finally, we're going to be purchasing a really big company that has all those screens and then cultivating that and hopefully have a reach of about 155,000 screens in the next 3 years. So that's...
And are there any stores that we would know?
I mean, look, for instance, there's one that's a hamburger chain. I can't tell you the name of it right now because we haven't finished the deal. Yeah, but that store alone has 2,000 outlets.
Wow.
And so, obviously it takes
great.
you making sales calls with the individual chains to see if the advertising coincides with what their brand is. Obviously, they share in the revenue stream so that it's lucrative for the chains that have the screens as well. All customizable. For example, if we do something in Circle K that's in Vancouver, and there's a car lot there that wants to advertise.
Right
it's
down the street,
customizable.
okay.
Every single, not just chain, every single store, every single screen is customizable for the client.
Wow.
And it's all done from one central server. It's pretty incredible.
That's incredible. So you can actually change the advertisement right on the spot.
On the spot,
right?
yeah, absolutely.
So if they want to promote, like, let's say, like the car lot wants to promote this car that they want to move, they could push it right there. And then,
That's right. And they don't need to do it in all 2,000 stores. They can, or all 55,000 screens. They can do it on 3 screens that are strategically in the vicinity of where their car lot is.
wow, that's almost like creating your own channel.
Yeah, it is. It is. And we're trying to make that available for the retail outlets. So the original way I thought of this was I wanted to get my music in non-traditional retail stores.
Right, that's
So I
smart.
started approaching stores like Dollar General, Family Dollar. These stores have, between the two of them, almost 20,000 outlets, and they don't sell music. So I approached them at their corporate headquarters about putting CDs at the end caps at point-of-sale locations because that's a highly
Right, desirable space.
desirable spot. Right. So they were all into doing it, only they wanted to do it in a digital fashion. At that time, I was trying to sell CDs, so getting the CDs and doing the logistics of that was very difficult. So now you can do that sort of stuff with the screens, and we're trying to implement a way that you can actually purchase items and digital content off the screens as well. But that's going to be in phase 2 and phase 3 of the business.
That's really clever. Yeah, that's really great because nowadays everybody's downloading music. So speaking of music, so what do you have in the horizon in terms of music?
Well, a couple of different things. One, Men of the Strip, they're all singers, so there are several, not necessarily labels anymore. There are several distribution outlets overseas that want Men of the Strip to put albums out and music out. So I'll be producing some music in tandem with some of my business partners and production partners for them. I also have my own music that's going to be coming out overseas first and then coming back here afterwards because I'm going to be over there for a little while, not too long. And then, just working on a lot of TV shows. I have a couple of TV shows that incorporate drone technology into
Very
them
cool.
that we're working on. We're going to be shooting
Especially
the pilot for that. Vegas, yeah. There's wonderful landscape there. Not only does the Strip look amazing, but there are mountains there like Red Rock, Lake Mead's there. So we're going to be incorporating this. It's so funny that I saw for the first time today, they said exclusive footage, weather was broadcast, was shown from a drone this morning on the news.
Very
Tomorrow,
cool.
I think Good Morning America is having a drone special, so it's starting to become pretty prevalent.
Very drone friendly now.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Very cool. I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much for coming on and sharing all this with us. Incredible. And I should also mention, Jeff is somebody that I hold so highly because everybody I meet just tells me what an incredible person you are. And I've been fortunate enough to meet, this is our second time. And I gotta say for sure, Jeff Timmons, absolutely gentleman, sweet, classy, and so professional. And
thank you so much.
Such a gift to be a friend. So thank you so much for your time. And with that, maybe we can do a quick intro to like how people can follow you on social media. Like, what are your channels?
They're all Jeff Timmons. It's pretty easy.
Okay,
At Jeff
that makes it
Timmons.
easy.
It's pretty easy. The Facebook, just you can look me up on Facebook. I have 2 or 3 pages on there. But at Jeff Timmons, Instagram, Twitter. I'm starting Pinterest, all that stuff. It's hard to keep up with all of them. So fortunately I have my 16-year-old and my 14, 13-year-old and even my 9-year-old.
His employees.
They're kind of giving me, yeah, exactly. I'm using them as like research and development team on what social media I should keep up
pretty awesome.
with. So they're telling me what's cool and what's not, keeping me in check with all that stuff.
We're going to have to get retirement plans set up for them now.
Yeah, please. They'll love that.
I love it. Well, thank you so much, Jeff. Thank you so much for being here.
I appreciate you having me.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it. And with that, this is Winnie's son, and thank you so much for tuning in again to the Renegade Millionaire Show. And to follow me, it's winnieson.com, and I am very active on Twitter, which is @SunGroupWP. Until next time, thank you.